fellow bookworms to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney and I have another bonus video for you guys. This is going to be an ongoing series on this channel, but it's not going to be a regular one. So these videos are going to kind of pop up here and there, but this is called the ABC Author Challenge. There will be rules on my website, so if you want to do this challenge, go check out my website. There's rules. I'm doing an ABC Author Challenge. Eventually, I'm going to be doing an ABC Book Challenge, which I imagine would be a little bit easier than the Author Challenge. And then there's also going to be an ABC Extreme Challenge, which kind of combines, book and author. But yeah, go to my website. Basically, the challenge for the author portion, I'm going through the alphabet and finding authors for each letter of the alphabet. I think this is a really great way to find new authors and new genres and kind of just get a feel for what's out there. I think, especially for me, I kind of get stuck in a rut. I find an author I like and I just kind of stick with that author or similar authors. So really, really excited to do the challenge, and it was so much fun. We actually went and got the first set of books on mine and my husband's anniversary. I'm doing it. I'm going to the thrift store. Obviously, it's easy, to type in a search and find, an author by the alphabet. And so yeah, basically you just gotta go through the alphabet. You can choose random letters if you want. I'm eventually gonna be doing that, but right now I'm just starting by going in alphabetical order and going to the thrift store and just finding an author that starts with that letter. Some of the rules, you can't, choose an author you are familiar with. So like for R, I couldn't choose a Nora Roberts book. I already have Nora Roberts. For like C, I have Michael Clayton, I want to say. I have some of his books. My husband does. I've never read him, but I already have those books on my shelf, and so I really, don't want to do that. So just find authors that you're not familiar with or you've never read. So like I have a Higgins Clarke. I've never read her. I am familiar with her, but I've never read her, so I chose one of her books as for my letter C, things like that. You can use the library, but again, that makes it a little too easy because they're in alphabetical order. And so the library is like as a last resort. If I can't find, like for X, if I can't find an author, with X, I would go to the library because then, I could find a book. But yeah, that's the challenge, and it was so much fun. It was such a fun date with my husband, and he was helping me. There's one book I almost wish he wasn't helping me because there's one book I got that it's like I'm dreading reading, but that's part of the fun too. And there's some like he knew the history of one of the authors, like, and I didn't have a clue. Like I was never familiar with this author, so it was a lot of fun to do this with my husband as kind of a fun little date. So something you can maybe do with your significant other. It was a lot of fun. But anyway, I have my stack here. I got 8 books. I did get 2 children's books. I just did a book haul that should be out before this video, and I did get also 2 children's books during that haul, but they weren't part of the ABC challenge. So just these 8 books were. But let's go ahead and get into it. And I did, you can, play with this a little bit, but like there was some that I picked up and I read the synopsis of the book and I was just like, that does not sound like a book for me. And so I was kind of choosy. Like I wanted to make sure it did sound like a book that I was interested in. I wasn't just grabbing, the first book that I found of that letter. I wanted to make sure it was something that I thought I might enjoy. So you can do that however, if you want to, try to find something with the synopsis you think sounds interesting, or if you just the first A author you grab, you're stuck with that. You can do that kind of however you want. So let's go ahead and start with A. I still have the stickers on here. I will take those off later, but the first one is The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood, and not familiar with her at all. I think looking at the inside, she actually has several books that she's written. And I do like this one. It's actually a library book, so that's pretty cool as well. Which I think is fun. It sounds like this is maybe a newer book because it talks about it's as visionary as the Handmaid's Tale and the Blind Assassin. Yes, 2015. So I was really surprised that it still had like the little library card in it as well. Because I thought most libraries are electronic now. But I thought that was kind of fun, for sure. But let me go ahead and read the synopsis for you. It says Stan and Charmaine are a married couple trying to stay afloat in the midst of an economic and social collapse. Job loss has forced them to live in their car, leaving them vulnerable to roving gangs. They desperately need to turn their situation around and fast. The Postron project in the town of Consolence seems to be the answer to their prayers. No one is unemployed, and everyone gets a comfortable, clean house to live in for 6 months out of the year. On alternating months, residents of Consolence must leave their homes and function as inmates in the Postron prison system. Once their month of service in the prison is complete, they can return to their civilian homes. At first, this doesn't seem like too much of a sacrifice to make in order to have a roof over one's head and food to eat. But when Charmaine becomes romantically involved with the man who lives in their house during the months when she and Stan are in the prison, a series of troubling events unfold, putting Stan's life in danger. With each passing day, Postron looks less like a prayer answered and more like a chilling prophecy fulfilled. So yeah, that just sounded interesting to me, and so this is my letter A book. So really excited to read that. Next is B. This is the one I'm most excited for. It's by Marie Benedict, and I know the stickers covering, I probably should have removed those. But it's called The Mystery of Mrs. Christie, and I'll read the synopsis for you. It basically says in December 1926, Agatha Christie goes missing. Investigators find her empty car on the edge of a deep, gloomy lake. The only clues some tire tracks nearby and a fur coat left in the car. Strange for a frigid night. Her husband and daughter have no knowledge of her whereabouts, and England unleashes an unprecedented manhunt to find the up-and-coming mystery author. 11 days later, she reappears just as mysteriously as she disappeared, claiming amnesia and providing no explanations for her time away. The puzzle of those missing 11 days has persisted. With her trademark exploration into the shadows of history, acclaimed author Marie Benedict brings us into the world of Agatha Christie, imagining why such a brilliant woman would find herself the center of such a murky story. What is real and what is mystery? What role did her unfaithful husband play, and was he not telling investigators? So yeah, really excited for that one. I've never actually read Agatha Christie books. Obviously very very popular author, and I know of her, but I've never actually read her. But yeah, just the premise of this one sounds so exciting for me. I can't wait to do that. So that's my B author. I'm really excited to try her out. And then C is my Mary Higgins Clarke. There was a couple options. There was like 3 different Mary Higgins Clarke's books. I ended up going with this one, just based on the synopsis. I was really excited to try this one. Again, very popular author, but I've never actually read her. And so her synopsis is A Stranger is Watching, of course. In this breathtaking shocker by the gifted author of Where Are the Children, a series of brutal and terrifying murders is the starting point for a story of such astonishing speed, drama, and terror that the reader is unable to put the book down without finishing it, and is held in suspense until the final surprising page. At the heart of Mary Higgins Clarke's new book is a group of people whose lives have been shattered by a murder and who are still trying to cope with its consequences. Steve, whose young wife Nina was killed in her own home. Neil, their 6-year-old son who witnessed the killing. Sharon, a journalist who has fallen in love with Steve and is trying to win young Neil's trust and affection. And Ronald Thompson, the man convicted of the killing, who continues to maintain that he is innocent as the hour of his execution approaches. Their lives are bound together not only by the murder none of them can forget, but by the fact that Steve is in favor of capital punishment, while Sharon is deeply opposed to it and has campaigned publicly for the sparing of Thompson's life. Yet there is one person involved in their lives, the stranger, waiting, watching, about to plunge them into an abyss of fear, terror, and shock. The stranger who knows how Nina died, who holds the key to Thompson's life. In a remarkable tale that moves from suburban Connecticut to the bowels of New York's Grand Central Station, to the prison where a young man awaits execution, Mary Higgins Clarke succeeds once again in carrying the reader into a convincing, closed, and totally real circle of terror, where everything is plausible, even the unexpected, spine-tingling nightmare ending. So, really, really excited for that one as well. And then our D, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but it's Mary Dime, I want to say. Dead Man Docking. Um, Reading the synopsis. So I didn't read the full synopsis in the store, but I was reading it to my husband after we got home. And oh my gosh, talk about a tongue twister. I think this book is going to be really, really interesting. But it says, Dead Man Docking. Who in their right mind would turn down a free cruise to the idyllic isles of the South Pacific aboard an ultra luxurious luxury liner? Certainly not Judith McMonigle Flynn, which is why she and her closer than a sibling cousin, Renee Jones, are leaving behind the stress of Hillside Manor B&B and hightailing it down to the San Francisco Bay to board the magnificent San Rafael, the pride of the cruises fleet. The cousins sail into the pre-launch party on a wave of happy enthusiasm, which unfortunately is about as far out to sea as they will get. The problem is the piano, or rather, the corpse stuffed in the piano. The body of their AWOL host, Cruises' CEO, Maglio Cruz. So the boat trip is postponed, leaving Judith and Renee footloose in Frisco. Except for the fact that they're both murder suspects and free to gad about with the other marooned, disappointed landlubbers, including one who is a homicidal loose cannon. Among the almost shipmates, the cousins are inevitably drawn to Rick and Rhoda St. George, a picture-perfect team of glamorous, martini-quaffing, would-be crime solvers, and since no one has anything better to do, they all decide to work together to solve the crime. When other stranded Raphaelites inexplicably begin turning up dead all over the city by the bay, Judith, Renee, and the St. Georges realize that if they're not careful, they too may end up leaving not only their hearts in San Francisco, but the rest of their mortal remains as well. So, yeah, that one sounds like it could be a fun ride. Excited for that one. And then E, I love the cover of this one. I chose Ruth Ann Emery's called Winter Tide. Really, really excited for this one. Let's see if I can remember how to pronounce the name. My husband, I was reading the synopsis. He's like, "Oh, that's that monster!" Like, he amazes me sometimes. But it says 2 decades ago, the U.S. government rounded up the people of Innsmouth and took them to a desert prison far from their ocean, their deep one ancestors, and their sleeping god Kaluthu. I'm probably butchering that. I'm so sorry. Only Afra and Caleb Marsh survived the camps, emerging without past or a future. Now it's 1949, and the government that stole Afra's life needs her help. FBI agent Ron Spector believes that communist spies have stolen dangerous magical secrets from the Miskatonic University, secrets that can turn the Cold War hot in an instant and hasten the end of the human race. Afra must return to the ruins of her home, gather the scraps of her stolen history, and assemble a new family to face the darkest of human politics and the wildest dangers of an uncaring universe. So yeah, it really, really sounds interesting, and I can't wait to read that one. That is my ebook, of course. And then this is the one my husband convinced me to get. Look at this sucker. It's like 890 something pages. I mean, and it's called The Tenants of Time by Thomas Flanagan. And oh my goodness, like, he's like, yeah, do it. I'm like, no, look how big it is. So we'll see. It does kind of sound interesting. Let me go ahead and read the synopsis for you guys. It says, long awaited, this magnificent new novel by the author of The Year of the French reaffirms his stature. He is the master historical novelist of our time. The later half of the 19th century, Ireland, England, America, the sweep is epic, yet the effect, page by page, is to create a telling intimacy. One believes in these tenets of time. The powerful and the humble, the rich and the dispossessed, they have an unforgettable life here in and beyond fiction. Early in the novel, the young historian Patrick Prentice reflects, but if indeed one could take a moment in history, a week, a month, and know it fully, perfectly, turn it in one's fingers until all the lights had played upon its surface. This is precisely what Thomas Flanagan has done. The moment with which he begins is 1867, the year of the ill-fated Fenian Rising that was intended to bring about an Irish Republic. And he continues decade by decade up to the downfall and the death of Charles Stewart Parnell, the great political leader in 1891. It is only then that the overwhelming secret concealed in that long ago moment of 1867 is finally brought into the light. The action evolves in a complex web that takes us into a vast estates of the aristocracy, peasant cottages, sleepy market towns, Dublin, London, the immigrants, New York, and Chicago. But the web begins in Kilpeter, the seat of the Earls of Ardmore, where three friends, Hugh McMahon, Robert Delaney, and Edward Nolan, are among the 60 young men who take part in the rising there, and advance on the headquarters of the Royal Constabulary and a retreat to Clonbrony Wood and surrender. But the experience of that single day from dawn to nightfall seals a bond between the three friends that determines the course of their lives. Each follows a very different path. McMahon settles contentedly in Kilpeter as schoolmaster, husband, and father. Bob Delaney marries the daughter of the town's leading merchant and becomes a barrister and politician, drawn into the entourage of Charles Stewart Parnell, the uncrowned king of Ireland. He moves in circles far from those he knew in Kilpeter, but when he falls deeply in love with a sensual, beautiful, unforgettable Sylvia, Countess of Ardmore, their passionate affair seems as doomed as that which brings scandal and tragedy to Parnell himself. Ned Nolan, McMahon's cousin, who had come from America to lead the uprising in Kilpeter, endures a long, terrible imprisonment. Freed at last, he is a figure of legend, rumor, and terror, ultimately linked to the attempted dynamiting of London Bridge and the bloody murders in Phoenix Park. Three very different men, alike perhaps only in this, that each has his own way, that each in his own way believes in Ireland, and Ireland itself is a presence in Thomas Flanagan's extraordinary novel, evoking the spirit of a past and the dream of a future, finally to be free. So, I'm sorry for all the butchering of the names in that one, but yeah, kind of excited, kind of overwhelmed by this book. So we will see how I do with it. Yeah, we will see. So that's F, and then I have G is Sue Grafton. T is for Trespass. This one sounded really interesting as well. It says, in what may be her most unsettling novel to date, Sue Grafton's T is for Trespass is also her most direct confrontation with the forces of evil. Beginning slowly with the day-to-day life of a private eye, Grafton suddenly shifts from the voice of Kinsey Mahone to that of Solana Rojas, introducing readers to a chilling sociopath. Rojas is not her birth name. It is an identity she cunningly stole, an identity that gives her access to private caregiving jobs. The true horror of this novel builds with excruciating tension as the reader foresees the awfulness that lies ahead. The wrenching suspense lies in whether Kinsey Mahone will realize what is happening in time to intervene. T is for Trespass, dealing with the issues of identity theft, elder abuse, betrayal of trust, and the breakdown of the institutions charged with caring for the weak and the dependent, could not be more timely. It targets an all too real rip in the social fabric. In T is for Trespass, Grafton takes us into far darker territory than she has ever traversed, leaving us with a true sense of horror embedded in the seeming ordinariness of the world we think we know. The result is terrifying. So this one seems like it's going to be very, very dark. but still kind of excited to read that one. It did sound very interesting to me. And then the last one is another one that my husband um, had insight to. Is by Anne Hillerman, so this is obviously H, and it's called Rock with Wings. And he's like, Hillerman, like he was talking about Tony Hillerman. Anne Hillerman is his daughter. And so he, kind of, he's like, it's probably something to do with Native American. So really, really excited for this one. And it says, doing a good deed for a relative, or let me start at the top little section. It says Navajo tribal cops Jim Chi and Bernadette Manuelito and the legendary Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn are back in this exciting southwestern mystery from the New York Times bestselling author of Spider Woman's Daughter. Doing a good deed for a relative offers the perfect opportunity for Sergeant Jim Chi and his wife, Officer Bernie Manuelito, to get away from the daily grind of police work. But two cases will call them back from their vacation and separate them, one near Shiprock and the other at iconic Monument Valley. Chi follows a series of seemingly random cryptic clues that lead to a missing woman, a cold-blooded thug, and a mysterious mound of dirt and rocks that could be a gravesite. Bernie has her hands full managing the fallout from a drug bust gone wrong, uncovering the origins of a fire in the middle of nowhere, and looking into an ambitious solar energy development with long-ranging consequences for Navajo land. Under the guidance of retired Lieutenant Joe Leaphorn, Bernie and Chi will navigate unexpected obstacles as they confront their greatest challenge yet. So, really, really excited for this one in particular. This one and what is the other one? The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict. Those are my two most anticipated ones out of this haul. Really excited to read these. So, yeah, let me know if you're familiar with any of these authors. Going forward, reading these books is kind of going to be done like a vlog style. So I kind of give my thoughts and updates in clips as I read them. And the videos will kind of come out, randomly. So if you really are interested in the series, again, make sure you are subscribed and do have that bell notification push so that way you don't miss out. I am so excited to do the series. I can't wait to go back to a different thrift store and have a local like little bookshop. Not sure if it's still open with COVID, so I will have to see. But I'm so excited, to hit that shop and other thrift stores and such around my area to try to find some new authors and try some new books. And yeah, it really sounds interesting. Like I said, I will utilize the library as an absolute last resort for some of the most difficult letters. I'm hoping I won't have to do that, but I mean, like X, Z, it might be hard to find some authors. So, really, really excited for this. Again, you can go to my website and I'll have the rules broken down for each of the different ones, whether it's the author challenge, the book challenge, or the extreme challenge. You can find all the rules over on my website. Let me know what you think about the challenge, if it's something you might try, whether you might do it like as a date with your significant other, because I mean, it was so much fun doing it with my husband. I can't wait. Like, I'm hoping for the next set of letters I can maybe go with him. If not, I might go with my grandma. She wants to hit up some thrift stores too, and she can't really go by herself. So if I go with her, maybe she'll help me choose some books. She likes to read too. So really, really excited for the series. And yeah, like I said, it's kind of gonna be pop up series instead of a regular series, but it should be enjoyable. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.